Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Roots with your host, Zion Hollins-Drew. Today, I am accompanied by Gabriel Mensah. Now, if you are a Norfolk State student, you've probably seen him in class, around campus, or for his roles in Thoughts of a Colored Man. Red and Brown Water, The Color Purple, and a tribute to Luther, and for his most recent performance in the adaptation of Terrell Alvin McCraney's The Brother's Size, where he plays Ogun. So let's get into it, okay? First of all, I was in awe of your performance in that play. I thought you did an incredible job, okay? First of all, getting into the show, full force, full of energy, full of light. You're jumping across the stage, running around from stage to stage. I just want to talk a little bit about what goes into mentally and physically preparing for your role. So, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so with the brother size, I would probably say that that was probably one of the hardest roles that I've ever done, period. Before like going into it, I was extremely terrified. Honestly, I really didn't think I could honestly pull off a show of that magnitude because it's a little bit different from other shows. There are zero props. There are the set. There aren't any like set changes that are like really noticeable or anything like that. Like the second that curtain opens, it's just the actor. That's it.
Yeah.
So it was very much a show that we actually got a longer rehearsal process for this show in particular. For most shows we'll get like 4 or 5, we'll get like a month. We'll get about a month before the show opens. This show we had like 2.5, 3 months to actually prep for it. And so um there's a couple components of the show that are really, really big and important. There's one, the choreography. The choreography of the show is kind of the element, the awe of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Choreography. Two, the acting. Um, and yeah, the acting, and that's really it. That's really it, honestly. So there's really two main elements of the show. To prep for the choreography. Every single day, we had to do full body stretches for like 45 minutes long.
Oh, wow.
Every single day. And to prep for the show, we had to work out like athletes. Like we had to train like athletes. So every single day, I would run 2 miles. I'd hit the gym for at least an hour, and then do like 45 minutes of stretching every single day. On the weekends, you said what?
First of all, how do you do that? Like, I'm currently on my workout journey, and I don't even know, like, just even having to get out of the bed every day and say, okay,
Oh my
I'm
God.
going to go to the gym. And you're talking about running 2 miles every day, having this stretch, doing all these things. So, your mindset, like, wow, okay, just the dedication. So, talk a little bit more about that and stuff. And again, how do you keep yourself in that mindset of like, okay, I'm going to go every day. I'm going to put in this work for this role.
Yeah, so one thing that people don't tell you about like being part of an NSU theater show is the pressure. There's a lot of pressure, you know. Not externally, more internally.
Mhm.
Like like every single time, like when I was prepping for the show, um constantly in my head, I would tell myself like if I don't get in shape the way I need to get in shape, if I don't learn these lines the way I need to learn these lines, I'm not only gonna let down the director, my professor,
Mhm.
I'm gonna let down hundreds of people that are paying good money to see us perform and create magic on stage. And most importantly, I'm gonna let down myself because I'm not gonna get out of my experience here at NSU what I came. I'm not gonna get what I came for, you know.
Mhm.
And that really pushed me, you know. It really, really pushed me. I did not want to like. give up on myself or my peers. And so that's definitely part of the reason why um, I guess that's kind of where a lot of the devotion came from, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so then, again, I want to get a little bit more into the character itself, Ogun. And, his character embodies everything from like strength to me, and he is the big brother, he has to look after his younger brother, and you see that in the play, and just him having to, what do I want to say, keep him out of trouble and having to deal with, it seems like he had to deal with a little bit of resentment towards his younger brother, because again in the play you talk about how every time you got in trouble everybody looked at me instead of you and always said, hey, if it wasn't for you being, a bad brother or whatever the case is, he would have never gotten into trouble. So again, with Ogun being seen as the protector, how do you embody that in your performance without making him feel one dimensional?
Hmm. That's very interesting.
Mhm.
So for Ogun in particular, I would say I definitely struggled. I definitely struggled getting into that level of character because Ogun is so far from like who I am as a person. Like
Mhm.
I'm an older brother, so I can definitely relate with that. I'm the oldest, so is
Okay.
Ogun. So I can relate with that. Ogun, he's into cars. He's very technologically driven. So am I. I can relate with that. But in terms of the trauma, and honestly, getting in trouble for your brothers and your siblings, that's something I can relate with too. So I would say that aspect of it, I don't think that was very difficult because a lot of the I was just really talking to my own brother on stage, really like thinking about all the times that maybe I got in trouble from like my brother doing some ridiculous stuff or whatnot, or my sister. But that aspect I feel like was not the hardest to kind of embody. What was really, really difficult to embody was his edge.
Okay.
Like, I am not, I don't got any edge in me. Yeah, I'm so serious. I mean, I got edge when I need to, like when I need to get down and dirty and, like get a little rough.
Mhm.
But the way that I walk, the way that I talk, the way that I carry myself, none of it says edge. You know what I mean? Like I give like corporate America. Like
Not the corporate America. I didn't want to say anything, darling, but you hit it on the nose.
oh my goodness. I'm gonna just take it as a compliment.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm gonna just take it as a
the
compliment.
code switch is on point. Okay, he don't got to switch up for nobody. Okay.
Yeah. But but yeah, I think at first when I first did Ogun, I think my character can I think at first when I was doing it, when I was like building the character, I didn't really build the character. Um, my performance was based off of another performance that was done of it. I did come off a little stereotypical, a little bit. I'm sure some of the things that I did could have come off offensive. In the beginning, in the way that I tried to portray the character, but that is the process of being a creative. You know what I mean? Like being okay with sucking at first, being okay with things not landing, things not making sense, things not going well for quite a bit of time. I'm so serious. Like people were shocked when they saw the show because it was a last minute discovery. It was I'm so serious. It was like 2 days before the show opened where I was like, okay, I think I get what it is that he's trying to portray. I think I get what he wants. The director, I can kind of see what he wants me to do. That didn't happen until like the week of the show. Seriously, So but it was very stressful because the show's going up, and and we're still not where we need to be. So it was very, very, very stressful. But
Your opinion, how does Ogun's character reflect those more so broader social and cultural issues, past and present?
in the African American
Yeah,
community.
yeah.
Absolutely. I can't speak for all of Black people that have ever existed. I can't do that. Um,
Mhm,
what I can say is for at least at NSU, Norfolk State University, the HBCU culture, um, it's similar to a lot of other cultures that you see like on Hampton and whatnot. I know my professor, he does talk a lot of, he calls it Candyland. Yeah.
mm,
I think unfortunately sometimes at Norfolk State or maybe other HBCUs or college in general, right? A lot of times people don't really think past this bubble that we have created, as an institution. And I think sometimes people don't think about what life is actually like after college, you know? And
okay.
people get so sucked into these things that don't really contribute to your success as an individual
Mm,
and think that it's not going to matter. Or I don't know, I think some people sometimes forget why they come to college. Some people forget why they're doing what they're doing. And that battle that people deal with in college is
mm,
literally what Ochusi deals with. So Chusi, right? He's out of jail, right? He's moving forward in life. Okay, he's had his past. He's done his things. Even in the show, like he's discovering these new things. Like, oh, I want to go to Mexico. I want to
mm,
go this. I want to do everything. Like he's really finding himself and maturing into a responsible adult. And on one end, we have Ogun, which is telling Ochusi everything he doesn't want to hear, but needs to hear. And then we have Legba, who's telling him everything that he wants to hear, but really doesn't need to hear. You know what I mean? And so it's they're opposite ends of the spectrum. They're very polarizing. And when you compare that to the HBCU experience, what's happening at school, it's like sometimes people forget why they're here.
mm,
You know what I mean? And that's definitely something that correlates into the culture 100%. You know what I mean?
yeah.
People get sucked into Candyland, which is
Mm,
what my professor calls it. So that's definitely something that I would say correlates.
yeah. And that was a good metaphor, honestly, because I guess we see it all the time. And for example, I'm a RL, and there are those of us that are graduating and are ready to embark on our future and whatever that entails for the next individual. And then there are those that are just, I guess, kind of complacent, and they're like, college is all I know. And I think that some people are a little bit afraid to take certain risks and step outside of their comfort zones and challenge themselves in different ways. You know what I mean? Because life is all about challenging yourself, you know what I mean, and getting out of your comfort zone and exploring new things, and you can't grow if you don't step out of your comfort zone. I hope it's a takeaway for the audience, as far as it pertains to Agun's journey.
That's tricky. That's tricky because Ogun has a very tragic ending. Like in the last scene when he's kicking Ochusi out, like that's literally him sacrificing his everything he has so Chusi has a chance. That's a story that unfortunately too many African Americans have experienced.
Mm,
And I mean, especially like when you see immigrants, right? Like they will sacrifice everything to come to America, and then be still on the very low end of society, and then they'll just keep sacrificing and sacrificing for their children to maybe get an opportunity to go to a really good institution to like have a good foundation so they can have a great life. Like that like that's an experience that a lot of African Americans deal with,
mhm,
but it's not the most positive experience, but it is a very meaningful one. And the story does a great job at highlighting the the greatness that African Americans live with. Like, what makes you great as an individual isn't, it's not the how much money you have, it's not the people you know, it's not the things you can do. Yeah, that like those things contribute, but what really, really makes you great is your choice to keep moving when things don't go your way. Like the choice you consciously make to keep stepping forward, to keep walking, to keep running, to keep crawling, swimming, whatever it is. The choice to keep moving when everything otherwise is, when you have so much resistance going against you, that's what makes you great. And that is the story of Ogun, 100%. And so it is a sad ending. It's very tragic. Ogun pretty much, he's guaranteed to go to jail because he is holding a felon. I forget what you call that. But like you can go to jail for that. For like protecting a felon, hiding one, you know what I mean? Instead of giving them up. Um he's at least gonna get life in prison. He doesn't own anything. He gave the truck to Uchusi. Um so he sacrificed everything, every little bit for Uchusi. And there's a beauty in that, you know. It's sad, but it
Yeah.
is beauty. There is a beauty in it.
And
Yeah.
I agree, I felt personally connected to his character as well, just being a big sister. I have two younger siblings, and but I don't know. Although you say that the ending is more of a tragedy, I also found the beauty in that he's free almost. Like to me, I took it as he's now liberated of having to feel responsible for his younger brother. And that was a really big thing, in the play. Like again, him going through that scene where he's basically like releasing that energy that he's had in him for so long, of having to bear the burden of every wrong that's ever happened to his younger brother has been you know, a part of him in some kind of shape or form. And, when his brother finally went away, I was like, this is his chance to finally live for him to a certain extent and not have to worry so much about what's going on with the younger brother. Because I think as older siblings, a lot of us, again, we're constantly having to look after our younger siblings. And sometimes it feels like it's hard for us to live our own lives apart from them because we always feel like, oh, I got to check on them. I'm used to having to take care of them and so on and so forth. So that was the beauty that I took from it.
Mhm.
Um, but I could also see what you're saying, just because who wants to have to say goodbye to their sibling in that way? And him being so vulnerable with us on stage and saying, there were nights where I'm, wondering what's going on with you in jail. We don't have that connection, and I want to be your protector. I want to look after you, but how can I? So I see your point. You make a great point there, but there's always that, I don't know, like that silver lining in every dark situation. I feel like.
Well, yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with that aspect. Um, in terms of being that sibling and being liberated from the direct responsibility. The only thing is that like Ogun's story is truly a tragedy.
Yeah.
Um, Ochusi, his his Orisha is the god of freedom.
Mm.
Ogun, his Orisha, is the god of technology, industry, build, innovation, strength. Um, and then Alekba, his Orisha is the god of the crossroads.
Mm.
He's always present whenever a decision needs to be made. I say that to say that like Ogun, his story never changes.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Although, like that, like that's why he's so angry. Like when you look at Ogun and who his character is, he's always angry, he's always mad, and that's because there is no happy ending for Ogun, unfortunately. Like
Mhm.
Ochusi he's the one that's free,
Yeah.
figuratively and literally. He is the one that's free. Ogun, although he is stripped from the responsibility of taking care of Ochusi, he he's literally taking Ochusi's situation. Ogun's definitely going to go to jail.
Yeah.
He's going to go to, like the last moment of the play, that is up to the interpretation of the audience because there is no written text to support that he's going to go to jail.
Mhm.
But when they come to his house, that he's going to get arrested for hiding a felon, and he's going to go to jail for the rest of his life for that. That is something that Ogun is going to deal with. It is a tragedy. They're like, and that's what's so sad about it. That's what's so tragic about it. The only thing you can really take out of Ogun's story is the greatness. He's great. His greatness for being there for his brother, like the love, the like who he is, a pillar. Like I feel like that's where a lot of the beauty out of Ogun comes from. But Ochusi, he's the one that's really free.
Yeah. I
So
can see that because he's halfway to Mexico by now. Like, I want to be just living carefree, but
oh my god. I wish.
yeah, we do wish more for Ogun's character because he is so deserving of it. I'm like, again, I sympathize with him. I am a big sister, so I get it. But of course, we all can't have that happy ending. But anyway, I just want to just go back a little bit to before you decided to become an actor. And I know that you mentioned you had to change your major, originally going to what, be an architect? What, am I correct?
Yes.
Yes. So how do you go from going to school to be an architect to now being an actor? What was the process like for that? And did your parents support you at the start, or was it like you kind of had to ease them into it a little bit more? They had to, I don't know, see a couple of shows to see if you were serious.
Okay, that's actually a really good question. So being an architect, that was strongly influenced through my dad. Growing up, I helped him with construction. I was his electrical apprentice for like 3 years. I would help him do a lot of electrical work. And he has a development business where he develops houses and neighborhoods, and he's really big on building houses. And architects are expensive, so
Mhm.
ideally, if I went to school to be an architect, that would be really a great asset to his business. And so originally, yeah, I came to school to get an associate's degree in architectural drafting. And then I remember it was my first semester. I saw a show called A Soldier's Play.
Mhm.
Um, the man, Adam Moskowitz, the one who actually played Alegba for The Brother Size, he was in A Soldier's Play, and when I initially saw it, I was just I saw the show like 2 3 times. I watched it and I was just amazed. I was just so moved. Like I just felt like I needed to be like I was like I needed to be there. Like I was in the audience and I was like I need to be on stage, on that stage right there with those people. Like I'm supposed to be there. Like I don't know, something in me just knew like I need to be there. And so there was a post show talk back. Um and then that's when the audience gets to ask questions. I rose my hand and I was like, how can I do that? And then I remember everybody was like, oh, like they were like, oh, look,
Yeah.
that's a great question. Oh, and then the director on the stage told me, like, the first time I ever spoke to him, he was like, yeah, you can just audition for to be part of the theater company, and then potentially be on scholarship for the program and so on and so forth. And then later that night, when I went back to Towers, because that's where I stayed, uh, I met Adam in the lobby. I was just in the lobby just doing my practice for the step show because we were doing the step show that year. And he walked in. I was like, what? No way. I was in awe. I was just in complete awe. I was like, there's no way. You're him. You're the guy on stage. And so I was like, you did amazing, did amazing, did amazing. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And he was, super chill. He's like, yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. And I was like, yeah, man, bro, I want to do that. I want to do it. I want to do it. First thing he told me was, "Hey, man, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, man. It's a lot of work." That's the first thing he told me. I remember that, and so I got his number, and then from there we were talking back and forth. He then eventually introduced me to the director, and then I had a meeting with the director. He told me about all the different rules, the way it works, all my options for being in shows and whatnot. He said that, I could audition for the NSU Theater Company, but because the ones that are actually in the program are getting training, they tend to always get the roles because they're doing the training for it. They're going to be better, obviously.
Mhm.
So that was definitely a huge factor that made me really think about whether or not I wanted to just audition for the company or actually be in the program, the theater program. And I wanted to, but I was so scared. I was horrified because I was like, oh, my dad's not gonna like this.
You already
I was,
know.
I was like, if I became a theater major, my mom would be scared. My dad would not approve of it. I was just like, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. Just, I just did it. I was just like, you know what? It's my life. I'm the one living it. I'm gonna have to pay for this consequence or whatever happens from it, I'm gonna have to be accountable for it. I talked to so many different people, and then yeah, after that first semester, at the end of the semester, I made the decision to audition to be a part of the company, and then I also completed my paperwork to add drama and theater to my course plan, and then yeah, just like that, became a theater major. Um, That next semester, I was officially a double major. As of right now, I'm still a double major, but I'm likely going to take off architecture and just graduate next May with my bachelor's in theater. So that's kind of how that worked out.
Wow. Well, honestly, I think that was a very inspiring story. I think that, of course, in the Black community, a lot of times our parents are more so concerned about stability and how can my child secure a job that can guarantee them, a check, 9 to 5. To them, that's success a lot of times, so anything outside of that, outside of the norm, to them is like, I don't know, like, raise the alarm, but for you to just say, you know what, this is my life, nobody else is living this life but me, and I'm going to do what I want to do, this is where my passions lie. I say, hey brother, keep on going, because it's not easy sometimes to tell your parents when your heart isn't in something, especially when it's like they lay out the plan for how they think your life should go. But at the end of the day, if it's not going to bring you happiness or serve you in any kind of way, I always say let it go. Let it go. Just let it fly. I know my mother, for example, wanted me to be a lawyer, or at one point she wanted me to get into like IT programming, stuff like that. But I was never interested in that, and honestly, my parents didn't get on board until they saw that I was serious about something, saw that I was willing to make a commitment. And for me, it's like, hey, I want to be on TV. That's been the
Mm.
same thing since I was a little girl. It's been consistent. I've always wanted to be on TV. So I'm like, okay, now that I'm an adult, how do I get there? So
Yep.
you start putting in those little steps or building blocks as you go and stuff. And then people, once they see you're committed, they're on board. They're like, okay, I see the vision now.
Yeah, one thing that I think a lot of people don't understand about success
Mhm.
is that it has so much more to do with who you are as a person.
Mhm.
Not what you do. You know what I mean? People think, and I mean, it makes complete sense. That's like the way that our society is literally created. Like it makes complete sense. go to school, um, get a great education, get a
Mm-hmm.
job, get a job. You know what I mean? But when you look at those extremely, extremely, extremely successful people in life, a lot of the times, they've gone through things that are so challenging and so difficult that it forces them to build their character, and it builds them into the type of people that have the skills to be successful. Um, like if you're a CEO, right? You don't just go to school, get a job. You don't just go to school, get a good education to be a CEO. Like you have to have life experience doing like like talking, communicating with people, um, overcoming challenges, having perseverance. Like you have to go through things
Mm-hmm.
that build you into the type of person that can be a CEO. You know what I mean? And so one of the things that anchored me in that decision when I was a freshman was that I believed that I have the skills. I have the mindset and the skills of a successful actor. The world may not see that right now, but I knew that deep down.
Yes.
And so I just knew deep down like who I am as a person is successful. And so that's what anchored me in my decision that I actually want to go be an actor.
And putting in that time outside of, school or, whatever you might do in your leisure time. But, if you say, hey, I'm going to be an actor, what does that vision look like? What does that plan look like? I'm a really big planner. I'm like, I need to map out my course plan so that way I can reach my objective, my end goal. So I am a firm believer that for anybody that wants to do anything, whether you want to be an entrepreneur, go into acting, singing, whatever the case is, to make sure you have that plan together. I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to talk with me. I'm sure my viewers want to know real quick though, what is next for you in the future? I know you were going into your senior year, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, sir. So, what does that look like for you? And are there any new projects that we should be keeping a lookout for?
Yeah, so um I will be doing Othello with TCC at their I believe their Chesapeake campus this summer. The show is from June. It's in June. I think there's going to be flyers and marketing for it when the time comes. But yeah, the show is going to be in June. I think from the 25th through the 29th at 8 p.m. at their campus on Chesapeake. I don't know all the details yet, but that's good old Shakespeare.
Okay.
It's definitely gonna be a challenge for sure. But it's gonna be a great experience. I'm gonna learn a lot from it, and yeah, yeah.
Okay, great. So, of course, keep me updated with that. I do wish you nothing but success on your journey. I know you are going to be a wonderful actor in the future. So, I can't wait to see you in more projects.